Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. Sean Woodland, Tommy Marquez, Lauren Khalil here with you on the eve of actually on the day for you, Tommy. You're leaving tonight.
I am.
For Miami.
Yeah.
Taking that red eye. That's smart. I wish I had done that. I'm leaving early tomorrow morning. And Lauren, you're leaving tomorrow as well. But you have a pretty quick flight, right?
Yeah, but I still can't get a gosh dang direct flight.
Wow. Because you're flying out of Syracuse, right?
Out of Syracuse.
So you have to go to what?
Something tells me
JFK
Syracuse isn't exactly a bustling
No,
hub for direct flights to metropolitan areas.
You would be correct. When I eventually have 2 seconds to breathe and move, I will be moving to a place with a major airport. I can tell you that much.
Or at least close to a major airport.
Yes. Where I can drive. Where JFK, LaGuardia, all of that's like 5 hours from here.
Ugh.
Yikes.
So that's where you're connecting.
Actually, no. I think Baltimore.
Oh, all right. BMI.
They send me there a lot.
Charm City.
Yeah. There you go. Go say hi to Spears Tavern.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
My brother owns that place. So.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about Wodapalooza. We're going to talk about the new Reebok Nano X4 that is now out. We have an interview with Tal Short, who is the Director of Training Footwear for Reebok. He joined us last week, and we spoke to him. And we're going to have that full interview for you today. But before we get into any of this stuff, we want to thank our sponsor for today, and that is WZA. This stuff, and I say this all the time, it has been an absolute game changer for me. It makes sure that the sleep that I am getting is as best high quality sleep that I can possibly get. Still don't get enough, but the sleep that I do get is enough for me to get through the day. I feel better. Like I don't really have the afternoon crash. The last 2 mornings, and this is rare for me, I have actually been awakened by my alarm.
Whoa.
I'm usually like,
whoa, Sean, who are you?
I know, right? And it's because.
Are you the person that wakes up like 2 minutes before the alarm goes
more
off?
often than not, yes. Yeah, but I've been
I hate
out
that for you
because of this stuff. No, I like it because I don't like the shock of being awakened by my alarm. But the reason I'm telling you it's WZA, like I mix this stuff in, and this is absolutely why that I feel like I'm getting better sleep. Feel like I have more energy during the day. It's a collagen-based drink powder that helps with joint and connective tissue repair. Has other ingredients like magnesium, L-theanine, GABA, help calm your central nervous system, help support deep and REM sleep, and it tastes fantastic.
It does, and they have the travel packs. I got one queued up for tonight for my red eye.
I'm bringing a whole bag.
I know. I was going to say the same thing. The travel is not going to be enough for me at Wodapalooza.
I might have to check that. Yeah, I'm just checking my WZA.
It's going to help me reset my clock. Crash out on the plane.
I always take it to sleep on a flight. It's my go-to. Where before my decisions were not great.
Oh, you just do whatever you can. Well, you can scan the QR code on our screen. You can check the link in the description of this episode. WZA.com. That's the website. TEF is the code that you want to use. You'll get 20% off. And I'm telling you, it is worth it. It is an absolute game changer for me. Love these guys. Love their stuff. High quality. And I look forward to drinking it every night. Like it tastes great. And it has been, I panic when I start running low on it.
Oh,
like that's where I'm at. So anyway, WZA.com, scan the QR code on your screen, check the link in the description of this episode, head over there. TEF is the code. You'll save 20%.
Ooh, I just got an email.
Uh-oh. We have more breaking news?
Breaking news. Open registration is now live.
Open registration is now live. All right.
Hey.
And
you can get a t-shirt.
You can register and receive access to buy the 2024 Open t-shirt.
Access to buy is what they're saying. So you
Yes,
register.
get your wallets ready.
It's like the personal seat license. You got to pay the money, and then you can buy the ticket.
And then you have the right to buy. Those personal seat licenses are top tier scam.
Oh, my buddy who has season tickets to the Rams at SoFi Stadium. I don't know. My buddy told me what he paid. I almost fell out of my chair.
One of my college buddies has the same between him and his brother for the Chase Center for the Warriors. Same thing. Absurd. It is. This
is in a much different category. T-shirt, personal seat license, not the same thing. But got to register to get the T-shirt. Pretty cool to get a T-shirt.
Yeah.
How many opens will this be for you? Have you done every one?
I've done every one. So it'll be
since Since the beginning of time.
So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2. This would be
14. 24.
This would be 14.
Yeah.
Wow, good for you.
14th open.
I don't think I did it I didn't do it in 11. I don't think I did it in 19 or 12. I think I missed a couple.
Yep.
But yeah.
Don't forget the year with 2.
Yeah, I was counting that because they had one, like that was 2020.
It was for 2020, but it was in 2019 in October.
It was very confusing.
It was very confusing. I'll talk about that. All right. Open registration. Games.crossfit.com. You can do that. First thing we want to get to before we talk Wodapalooza is the interview that we did last week with Tal Short, who is the Director of Training Footwear for Reebok. They got the new Nano X4 is out. And
they're spicy.
They're nice, man. I still have yet to, they were nice enough to send us a couple pairs.
Yep.
I haven't put mine on yet. I think I'm going to break them in tonight. Going to put them on, test
Ooh.
out. I might add a little color to the outfit, Lauren, bold it up a little bit because they gave us like the Miami print, which are kind of nice. What?
You have the ones with the orange?
Yeah, I like those.
Okay, now it's time to pop an orange t-shirt or maybe like a black t-shirt that has some writing that's in orange to match.
I can do.
Okay.
Right,
I wanted to dip a whole foot, but just the toenail.
We'll dip the toe into that. Yeah, I just
shallow in first, Lauren. Shallow in.
With my floaties on.
Yeah.
I'm swimming. But like I can't. When we were talking about this last week, I remember the first Nanos and how big a deal that was. That someone was actually making a shoe for CrossFit, because back in 2010, 2007, when I started CrossFit, it was, I think I had a pair of Brooks. You got some Chuck Taylors to lift in.
There were the F-Light 230s from Innovate.
Innovate had
they had the blue one or the green one or the red one. I think also the 235s too. But
and it's crazy that they've gone through like this many iterations and it's still as successful as it is.
And it's funny. We'll obviously hear from Tal about some of the adjustments too, but I remember early on, there were. This just goes to show you that we'll find reasons to complain about anything, but like there was no like CrossFit shoe, and finally there was, and immediately people started, oh, this shoe sucked, this that, and now like it's funny. I talked to some people who still have their ones, and they're like, yeah, those things actually kind of held up pretty well.
They were good,
and like the
you
twos,
could bake them.
Yeah, everyone's, and I was like. Yeah, actually, like we're quick to just like jump all over it, but
everyone loved the twos.
Actually, the twos were the best. I had a pair of I had black and neon green, like this color green, that were just my favorite.
Man, oh yeah, because you could, and then the threes are the ones that they finally started putting the plastic on, right? They had the plastic cage, and then the fours they minimized the plastic cage, but it was still on the toe. Fives were pretty solid.
Fives had the Kevlar. You'll hear that in the interview too. Sixes were great.
That was sixes. Was the first year they had the gum sole with the black. Like that, I was like, that is nice.
That was a snazzy.
I love a good gum bottom.
Yeah, look good.
Yep.
And then the sevens had the plastic cup on the heel, right?
Which people didn't like, but there was aspects of it.
And then the eights, is that the one that had the insole?
The sock liner, which those were the most comfortable.
Those
ones.
were great. The nines. I'm trying to remember the nines.
I base it all around what shoe they distributed to us at HQ as like the employee one, like because the eights were black with gum and it was like a silvery sock liner, and the nines honestly I think were some of the most popular, and to this day still hold up.
Those. Maybe I do. I can't. Yeah,
I know I have a pair, but I don't remember. And then the tens were when they came up a little higher.
Yeah, they changed the profile. They went a little more mid instead of a low.
Yeah.
I actually really liked them. I have a pair of 10s still in my rotation just because I honestly, coming from a basketball shoe standpoint, I really like them. Yeah. So
I remember that when you were telling me about them when they first came out, because I think you got them before I got my hands on them anyway. But before we get into the interview with Tal Short, just want to let everybody know, if you're interested in the Nano X4s and you're going to be in Miami, you can win. You can possibly score yourself a pair at our happy hour.
Oh, yeah.
That we are having fullfree.com. We are having tomorrow night. So Wednesday night, 6 to 9 p.m. at the Tipsy Flamingo.
What am I going to wear?
I don't know. We got probably something subtle and, not very colorful is what I'm guessing. You can You can get your hands on some merch, get your hands on some shoes, some brand new X4 Nanos. We're going to have athletes there. We got a bunch of athletes are going to be there. We got James Sprague, Fisa Goffi. This is just off the top of my head. I don't have the list in front of me. Elisa Fuliano, Christian Harris, Allison Scudds, Sam Cornway, Kyra Milligan. It's going to be a good crew. Tipsy Flamingo, 6 to 9 p.m. I am literally landing and I'm picking up my baggage and I'm going right to the Tipsy Flamingo. So there will be.
And one of those athletes will be the TEF correspondent reporter, boots
for the
on
event.
The ground.
This will be fun. We don't know how this is going to work, but we're going to just kind of.
It's going to happen.
Turn this person loose and see what ensues.
Every time I hear that, I go, Brick, you're doing your celebrity golf tournament again. No, too many people died
last year. So anyway, please join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tipsy Flamingo, 6 to 9 p.m. in Miami. Just look it up on your smartphone. It'll send you right there wherever you are. And you can maybe score yourself a brand new pair of shoes. Not a bad night out. And hang out with some
there will be quite a few
people.
There will be plenty of opportunities for people to win some swag. So
exactly. Okay, let's get into it now. Here is our interview that we did with Tal Short from Reebok. Let's welcome in our guest for today. He is the Director of Training Footwear for Reebok. He is Tal Short. Tal, how you doing today, man?
Hey guys, how are you? Glad to be here. Launching another Nano, so super excited. Number 14 for us. So
that is crazy because Tommy and I we're just talking a second ago that I still remember the ones, those bright yellow shoes that they were selling, and it's crazy now that we're on the 14th iteration. So let's get into that for a second. When having 14 different iterations of a shoe, you're obviously changing something and tweaking things here and there. As you approached this current design, what were the things that you knew you wanted to change? What are the things you knew you wanted to add? And what went into that process? I have 3 questions there, but hopefully you can tackle one at a time.
I think it's definitely not like what I think, right? We always just look at the consumer, right? What is the consumer looking for the next iteration? So a lot of times, we'll spend a lot of, before we start really briefing in the next one, we start looking at what's the feedback on the current one, right? Not just like looking at sell-through, like, is it selling? That's okay. Yeah, of course, we're a business, we need to make money, but like, what are the consumers actually saying? So we read all the blogs, we read comments on Instagram, like no matter where someone leaves a comment, like we collect all that and we look for trends, right? Like what are they saying? What don't they like? And then also what do they like? Like, let's make sure we don't change that. And I think a lot of things with the Nano X4 is, I like to say it as, the X3 has done very well for us and the feedback's been good. The ratings are high, but we felt like we could do better. So I would say it's more upgrades that we've provided for the X4 versus total changes, right? The consumer's not looking for us to just change up the Nano. Everyone seems to be pretty happy with it. We did make some slight tweaks that we can get into that I think came directly from feedback from the consumer. And we could talk more into that. But I think in general, one thing that we do at Reebok that we make sure of is that we're making changes for the consumer. We're not just telling them, all right, this is a better shoe, you need to buy it. Like, we're like, it's almost like, I like to think of it as like a crowdsource project, right? Like everyone's kind of building the Nano with us. We do need to, as leaders, we need to make sure that we're still, innovating and pushing the envelope, but also kind of bringing that consumer along with us. Because we know the training consumers changed quite a bit over at least the past 5 years for sure.
And what are those changes? And on the backside of that as well, to kind of tack on, what are maybe some of the interesting adjustments and trends that you've seen over time? Because we were just talking before, I still have my Nano ones. They're in my closet, the yellow ones that you could bake to your foot. And I'm just curious what the needs of the training consumer and cohort how they have adjusted over this time. Because even back then, CrossFit on a broad scale was still new to a lot of people.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think that's one thing that we're laser focused on is where is the training consumer going, right? Whether it's CrossFit, whatever they're doing. I think one trend that we saw a couple of years ago was there's definitely more like running cardio, which is not something, in prior years. And I was with you guys at the very early on stage, right? Like it was, I need the flat shoe. And we talked about like people wearing Chuck Taylor, like it was, give me the flattest shoe possible for deadlift. And then all of a sudden they start doing 400-meter runs in those things. And like, wait, why am I, why am I hurt? Why is my feet hurt? Yeah. What's that slapping noise I hear? So I think runnability and like overall comfort, I think, even us, we were guilty of it. Like you look at like the Nano 5, I mean, that thing was like a piece of equipment, right? Like it was indestructible, but like, was it as comfortable as it needed to be? So I think the consumers really, put a lot of pressure on us to make a super, high performance shoe, but also is comfortable and wearable. I think that's another thing that's really evolved is people's style has changed, right? So I think before it was like, they didn't really care what the shoe looked like as long as it performed, right? And so I think nowadays it's like, all right, I want to be able to run to, brunch after my workout or run to Trader Joe's and get, like not worry about like, oh, I look like I have this piece of equipment, like I'm almost, on my feet when I'm going out. So definitely the style component. I think you guys understand that. You've seen it across the board, but I think especially on the women's side, right? Like that's one that we were really focused on, making sure you have the right colors and make sure it's still wearable. Obviously performance is number one, but I think that's where our advantage of doing this for 14 years is making sure that we can have that balance of both.
And are those a pair of 14s behind you, Tal?
Oh, yeah. So I have some hanging around. I mean, who doesn't have Nanos on their mantle? I just got the Christmas decorations down, so don't.
Yeah,
so
nice.
But yeah, so the
Yeah, can you kind of just kind of
sure.
take us through some of the different things stylistically and functionality wise that you've implemented to the new ones?
Yeah, for sure. So I think the first thing we wanted to look at is just kind of the overall streamlined look, right? So if you remember the X3, it had this big zigzag on the back, and it really, we wanted to call out the lift and run chassis system that was in the X3. The good news is we still have it in there, right? So that's one of the, I think, biggest surprises for us, the X3, is that people really bought into that and they felt it and they really liked the functionality of the lift and run chassis system. So just to remind everyone, it's like, it's a system we have inside the shoe, unfortunately, where it's really hard for us to show it because it's right in the middle of the shoe. But the idea is that, there's a piece of plastic in there that piece of really hard plastic that when you're lifting, it flattens out, makes you stable. But when you're not, it's got Flow Right Energy foam, which is our, premier running foam. It's in there as well in the dome. So when it's not like compressed, it's just sitting there. It's super comfortable, responsive for runs and jumps. And so it's kind of a balance of both. So we're always trying to crack the code. Can you really have a shoe that you can lift and run in? And so hence the name, we're very creative, the lift and run chassis. Yeah, so we wanted to make it really obvious what it does. But so we still have that. But I do think a couple of things that we focused on was, one of my at least pet peeves and one of ours is when you see people like rip their shoes off after working out, right? Like they just like, I gotta get my shoes off. And so we started to study, like we saw feedback that, the X3 and other training shoes were running hot. And so we're like, what does that mean? And so we started really diving deep into like, why the feet swell, how much does the feet swell? Like, what, all this like stuff. So there's a couple different things we did to kind of help with that heat and friction. So first thing we did is we removed like a bunch of underlays and like stuff that's inside the shoe that you would never know. We didn't want to sacrifice any sort of stability or durability, but we felt like if we just looked at the pattern of the shoe, which I'm sorry to get a little too nerdy on you guys, but like we just made sure that everything was there, what was on there for purpose, not just like, oh, we need it in there for whatever reason. So the idea was to really look at, can we take out some layers? Obviously, hopefully reduce some weight, but really it was that friction of the heat. And then the second thing, which I'm really excited about, is this kind of ventilation panel. So you can see it here in kind of the red, we call it our midfoot. So like right in the midfoot. The idea is that's where the most heat comes when you're working out. So we're allowing that air to kind of flow through your shoe versus it just being stuck in there and then trying to get out through your ankles. So the idea is it allows, some airflow, but the good news is we've made sure it's still like super durable. And I think that's the advantage with our flex weave, that we were able to actually weave it into the yarns, which is pretty cool technology. It did take us about 8 to 9 months to get it right and make sure that we had just the same amount of, durability and breathability together. So yeah, we're really excited about those updates. And another thing is we've added in a gusset in the tongue. So we had some feedback, like my tongue slides around. There's some people that have that issue. So I think when you put on the X4, you're going to notice a difference right away. You feel a little bit more locked in. I do think it has a little bit more room in the toe box, and not from a point that we made it wider. I think it just fits on the foot. And we were getting feedback that, yes, the Nano is always a little wide compared to like a running shoe, but there are those consumers, especially in the CrossFit space, that have much flatter feet, much wider feet than the general public. So we didn't change anything from a millimeters or change the actual width, but it was more about just how it fits and the material that we used and how we patterned it. So I think there's a nice balance of, you need that room, that splaying that you need for when you're deadlifting and squatting, but then also it still looks visually, because as we get new consumers, we talk about the training consumer, there's so many more people doing strength training out there that this is a step from wearing a running shoe to a training shoe. If you went to the Nano 1, right, it looks very unique and can be very polarizing to some people. So we want to make that transition where you can still have that performance of a wide toe box without the visual look of it, if that makes sense.
We were talking before we came on here that Reebok has, I guess, stepped back from CrossFit, but not stepped away. Still very much involved in the ecosystem because you guys are the first shoe. Everybody knows you for the Nanos, but not the title sponsor anymore. You don't have the big presence that you used to. So what is your approach to engaging with the CrossFit community, even though you still don't have, I guess, the advertising presence that you once had, say 7-8 years ago?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think, we were honored to be kind of the first title sponsor of CrossFit. Like, it was something that we took a lot of pride in. It was a great partnership. We love those guys. But I do think, now that we're not the title sponsor, it actually opens us up to do a little bit different strategy, right? So instead of just focused on, providing stuff for the CrossFit game, like, we're able to get a little bit deeper into the community of it. And I think that's where you're going to see us more like this grassroots, getting back to like when we first started working with CrossFit and we really like embraced that community. And I think this has allowed us we have the funds to do that, right? Like, so we're, it's obviously cost money to be a title sponsor, which is, it was worth it. It was awesome. It was great. But the idea is that now we can use those funds to really help the community and kind of reintroduce ourselves to kind of this CrossFit. Cause there's so many new CrossFitters out there that might not even know that Reebok was a title sponsor, which, it's something, we can always remind them of. And we talk about it when we talk through Nanos, and, hopefully we could talk through the history of the Nano, but the idea is, that we want to, we want to make sure that we're still talking to the CrossFit community. They are our the heartbeat of the Nano is that consumer. Like, we don't want to ever lose sight of them. Even as we, look to go beyond the box, we will never leave the box. Like, that is for sure. That's something that we are very dedicated to. They're always, the good news about CrossFitters is they're very vocal as well. They will tell us, as we all see on any sort of blogs, whether it's logo design, they are very, they give feedback. So
very direct.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very direct. That's a great word.
And before getting into the history of things, I want to get your take on the design elements, because it feels like right now, just in the general fashion, sports, athleisure world, we're starting to get a cycle of like the late 80s, early 90s starting to come back. Some of the classic, what is now vintage, which hurts us and feeling old, those types of stylings. And even like in Reebok, with the X4, like the prominence of the OG logo, which was there on, I think, the 1s and 2s, and then the 3s started to shift away. But you're starting to see that more, whether it's track jackets and full on track suits and things like that. And how much of that plays into your design element now? And is that something you think might stick around for a little while?
Yeah, no, we see that trend. I think 80s and 90s right now, but we even see kind of Y2K come in as we move forward. So I do think, we've added things like this, just even adding that Reebok mark right there that ties into, some of our things that we do on the heritage and our classic side as well. So we called it kind of our new look of performance, where it does have that style, because that's what, and we talked about it earlier, that's what the consumer's looking for. They don't want their athletic footwear to look like athletic footwear, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't need to look like a piece of equipment. They want it to look very cool and wearable, but also perform. And I think that's part of the, and luckily at Reebok, we have a ton of, that was in our heyday, 80s and 90s. We were even above Nike at that point from a brand standpoint. So that is something that obviously our classics team uses, but for us on the performance side, we added in what we call the cross check, back, I think the Nano 9 was the first time that we brought it back. Before it was the Delta logo, and we actually, the Nano was the first performance shoe to bring it back. And now if you look at like our running range, everywhere else on the performance side, we've all, the consumer's looking for that kind of old school classic look. So it's that balance of still having it look, there's still a performance side to it, which we'll work on, but also just that classics look as well.
But with 14 iterations, Tal, I mean, there has to be a sense of, how do we compete with the version beforehand, or how do we compete with whatever ones maybe have sold the best over the last 14 years? How do you truly ensure that the Nano is getting better with every version while still keeping it what people know as the Nano?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. It's a challenge that we have, and our promise always to the consumer is we're not going to bring out a shoe until it can beat its predecessor, right? Like, we know that there's always going to be people that love the Nano 6 and that's their shoe and they get it. Like, we get that. We're not going to win those people over. Like, there's a lot of people set in their ways, but like, I think for us, we just want to make sure that we're doing everything from a brand to listen to the consumer and move that consumer forward as well. So give them what they want, but also just listen to them and provide them. We know there's a ton of competition out there now. So we're not only competing against ourselves. I think there's 13 different brands out there making this kind of premium training shoe, which is something we are aware of, but it's not something we're super focused on. We know what's going on out there. I mean, we still, we're the leaders in this space. We need to lead from the front. We need to bring this consumer along, but how we do it, we just got to be very careful. And I think the consumer leads us like with that, like, do we need wholesale changes or does it just need slight updates? And a lot of it is just consumer feedback.
You mentioned the competitors that you have out there. How does, if at all, their presence affect the way that you approach design, affect the way that you listen, solicit feedback, react to feedback? How has it changed, I guess, the landscape for you, if at all? Because you just said, you want to lead from the front.
Yeah. No, I would say, we're glad they're there. I mean, they challenge us, right? Like, we're not scared of the competition. I think competition, allows us to, pressure, puts us a little bit of pressure. As before, it was just us and maybe a couple brands. And now we have all these new brands with all their own separate kind of plans and strategies. But, we feel strongly with our base of, 14 years, plus our commitment to just keep innovating. I think that's one thing that we do as a brand is we don't just settle like, yeah, of course, if the Nano whatever was like, great, we'll just keep it around for 2 years. Like, it's just like, in the weight room, if we hit a PR, we're not just going to stop, right? Like, we want to keep trying to evolve, trying to get better. And I think it's key that, we have these testers that wear the Nano every year. And I think, Lauren, to go back to yours, like we give these guys the same shoe and we do test it against our shoe, but also our competitors as well. I try out all the different shoes as well, just to see if there is something. And I assume they do the same thing with ours, like, right. So we're always learning from each other. And I think, I don't like to see them as competitors because I think we're all on the same team trying to get people fit, trying to get people to move. And I think that's important. So whether they're wearing our shoe or not, if they're moving, we're happy, especially at Reebok. Like, it's all about movement. And like, that's important to us. Obviously we want them in Nanos. We feel strongly we have the best shoe, but we're just happy when people are out moving, getting fit. That's the most important thing for us.
Yeah. One big aspect of shoe culture, I think, in the sneakerhead culture is a little bit of that history and reminiscing, like whether it's, a particular pair of shoe and iteration that you are loyal to and a diehard to. I'm even you talking earlier, I was thinking about, I have a pair of Kamikazes from, which was Sean Kemp's signature shoe back in the day. Wow, I couldn't say that. But you think about the iterations of the Nano and its history. Are there any models and makes that kind of stand out to you as like, all right, this was a big jump forward here, or here was kind of a pivot here, and these are kind of like the ones that stand out over the history?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you go through the order, right, like I think the 1 and 2, the 2 was really cool because it was just like the Nano 2 was a very popular. We even have it out. We brought it back out now. The 1 was, we kind of rushed it in, got it right, and then the 2 we really perfected it. But I think I would say some of the biggest, updates were, even the Nano 7, which was not the most loved. It was probably the least liked Nano, but without the Nano 7, you don't get the Nano 9, the Nano X, the Nano X2. Like, so that was the first time we introduced our Flex Weave material, which is the upper material, right? But without the Nano 7, we wouldn't have been able to evolve to where we were with like the Nano 9, which I think is probably number 2. So as far as popularity goes, we're pretty clear, Nano 6 is up there, Nano 9, Nano 2. For you OGs, you probably remember the Nano 4 that Rich would wear all the time, the black and red ones. We just covered the shoe in plastic. I think I still mow my grass. I think I still mow my grass in the Nano 4 since they're still, still around.
Wow.
But I do think, it is cool to look back, and we do have like kind of a history of Nano in our offices, obviously, and we do reference them a lot, like just like looking back and saying, what did we learn and what are some of the challenges? We took a bunch of chances, and sometimes we didn't hit, and we had to pivot. So I think being able and understand that we're not always going to hit a home run, but luckily recently the last few nanos have done very well for us, and so we're excited to really use that momentum. And I think it's, as these competitors have come on board, it's really energized us to really step up our game as well.
You mentioned the Nano 5. Was that the Kevlar one?
Yeah, it was. You could shoot bullets at it. Yeah, they were shooting
yeah.
I still have 2 pairs of those in the box unopened, the American flag ones you guys did.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Collector's items.
We talk about how Reebok's position in the CrossFit space has evolved and changed over the last several years. When you look at the whole like fitness industry, and even when we're talking about lifestyle and being able to wear these to brunch or to run errands, like, are there other specific like verticals that you are looking into? Like, people are getting into high rocks, tactical games, other weightlifting. Like, are there other industries you're trying to break into with the nanos?
Yeah, I mean, I think the nano, first of all, I think if you look at all the trend reports, right, strength training is number 1 right now from like most popular. And I think that's very new, right? So I think you've got a lot of new consumers moving into strength training, which I think is great for the nano, because I do think the nano is a great shoe for that, right? Strength training, you're not doing a ton of running, but you do need that stability. And I think, people will learn as they start doing strength training that maybe training in my running shoe is not the best thing when you're squatting. So I think we'll hopefully learn that fairly quickly. So I do think that, of course, we see the high rocks trend. I mean, we're very well versed, and we have people all over the world that kind of chime in, right? So I think you'll see we might have some, just to give you a little bit of a hint or a little tease, you'll see us maybe have the nano expand into other trend categories as well from a fitness standpoint. So I think that's one thing that we're using some of the technology we've learned from just building kind of the best training shoe in the world to build other things moving forward. So I think I wish I could share more, but I think you'll see the nano franchise kind of expand over the next couple of years based on things we are seeing in the trends as well.
Back in 2011, that was when Reebok first got involved with CrossFit, the first time that they made a nano. What was it? What was the concept meeting like when someone came to you and said, "Hey, there's this cult of people and they do weird pull-ups and they work out till they puke, and we think there's a good business environment or business opportunity here, and we need to design them a shoe." Go.
Yeah,
These crazy people.
Yeah. It was exactly almost just how you put it. Like, all right, figure it out. Like, all right, we're about to sign this deal, figure it out. And I think if you remember, we had some really bad early nano. Like, we had the zig, we had some technologies that we tried to put in that like the shoe would fall apart. Like, luckily we had like an Austin Malleola right on site that would he was like, "What are you guys doing? You can't do this." Like, he would like let us know right away, which was good. So yeah, those early days of trying to figure out what they actually needed. Then, from a brand standpoint, what we needed to kind of push in, like, all right, we're spending all this money. Like, what are we trying to do? But, I think until, I still remember the day seeing all our kind of our footwear designers, like doing CrossFit for the first time. Like, they were doing all these pull-ups. They were doing like wall balls. We're trying to play basketball and they're like doing wall balls. Like, what are you guys doing? You've been doing wall balls for like, I didn't even know what a wall ball was, but like, they were like doing them against the wall. It was crazy. I mean, they were telling us all about CrossFit. And so like, they had taken an inspiration trip out to Carlsbad, and like all of a sudden they come back and they're like, "Yeah, no, we needed to get into the sport," and all of a sudden it just took off. So I still remember those days. It was crazy. I mean, we used to have the regionals at our headquarters. Like, they had it like outside. It was just so cool. And we'd be selling like the first nanos there. It was just it was a great time to kind of be in the sport, especially before it really took off, because it was just, there's something just so pure and genuine about those early days of just, before it really exploded.
Totally.
What are the things that you had to, like the boxes you tried to check with that first nano? Is like, okay, we've messed around with this. And then where did you sort of net out as far as this is what's got to go into this thing?
Yeah, I think stability was the big change up, right? So we had some like, if you even look at the 1 and the 2, you'll notice if you flip it on the bottom, you'll see like it has all these like little notes, and those were our Real Flex technology, which was in a running shoe. Unfortunately, we tried it with the nano, but you were super unstable. It felt like you were kind of wobbling around, and I think that was some of the early feedback. So what we did is we kind of removed those, kept the design language, and just made sure that the shoe was flat, the rubber was traction was a big one. So I think it was one of those that we just really wanted to make sure that we did it right the first time and make sure that there wasn't these major mistakes. Now, obviously we evolved it as we went along, but we were in a hurry up offense. So as you can imagine, you're going to make some small mistakes along the way, but it was fun process. Yeah. Luckily no one got hurt in the process. So we're good.
Oh man.
Well, we have Wodapalooza coming up. We're going to have our happy hour there with you guys at Tipsy Flamingo. That's going to be on Wednesday, January 10th from 6 to 9 p.m. So hopefully everybody can make it out to the Tipsy Flamingo if you're in Miami. But what else is Reebok going to be doing down there in Miami?
Yeah, so I would definitely, that party should be pretty good. We were just naming some nano drinks that we were going to have some.
Yeah.
So, it was the
That's what we like
brainstorm.
to hear.
Yeah, there was a brainstorm last night late, and our like Teams chat was just blowing up, and people had some really strong names. So yeah, I think it was good. Some strong drinks.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, so I think, they won't let me share too much, but I'll just say that we are definitely going to be down. There's going to be a presence in Miami. So we're excited. We got a snowstorm this weekend, so it'll be good to get some vitamin D after that. But I think, I can't share too much, but I do think we're going to have some fun. We're going to bring kind of our Reebok design lab down there, if that's a little hint for you guys.
All
So, and the good news is we're bringing a bunch of pairs to give away. So there's going to be some. So I would just say stay tuned to our Reebok channels. Lots of pairs to hand out, and I think you guys are going to really like the colorways as well. I think we've had some fun with those. So yeah, look forward to it. We're excited to start out the year. Love Wodapalooza. It's a great community event. So yeah, I think we're excited to get down there and see everyone.
Yeah,
Epic.
Well, Tal, thanks so much for taking the time to do this, man. We really appreciate it. And thanks for everything that Reebok has done for CrossFit, the sport and the community, because yours was the first brand to sort of latch onto it and believe in it. And I know that people are very loyal to their shoes and the different pieces of equipment that they like. And I know that you guys have built a lot of loyalty in the space and you believed in it early on. So thanks for doing that, man.
Yeah, no, and thanks for everything you guys do. And then the community, obviously we love the CrossFit community. It's like I said, it's the heartbeat of the Nano and of Reebok training in general. So, and that's something that we don't take for granted. And we just promise to never get complacent with that. And we're going to keep evolving and innovating for the community. So we're excited for that as we move forward. So look for things in the CrossFit space moving forward. I think, like I said before, we're opened up to do a lot more now. And I think you're going to see that as we move forward.
Nice.
That's great.
We can't wait.
Yeah, appreciate it. Well, we'll see you in Miami, Tal. Thanks so much for joining us.
All right, guys. Take care.
I know you love geeking out on the shoe stuff, man. Like when did you kind of become a sneakerhead?
I would say,
and I don't know if that's fair. I don't know if like you're in that category, but yeah, I know that
I would say I'm sneakerhead adjacent.
That's what I would say.
Because I keep a
What does that mean?
I keep
it's
a
really into
healthy
shoes.
So I think like
No, but adjacent. I don't.
It means that you're like
a
fan, but not a super fan.
So here's the thing. I would say sneakerheads in general are like they're on StockX and all the apps, and they're trying to get every new release. They're flipping shoes, they're saving them, they don't wear them. They're all over. They usually have a couple brands that they follow, whether it's Jordans or Dunks or whatever it may be, and you spend a lot of time focused on just the retail aspect of those in particular. I have a healthy respect for high quality shoes and different designs and brands. I like to have options, but I don't live and die by every like limited edition release, and I don't like have to go and do this. And I would say, like in general, when I was 8 years old, the original song I mentioned this in the interview with Tal, the original Sean Kemp Kamikazes came out, and I went, I want those.
Yeah.
And I basically did all sorts of extra chores and like worked at my grandpa's and did all this other stuff to like get those. And then I got them for my birthday. It was my birthday gift, and it was like the best day ever. And after then, I've been very selective about like I like those. I like those Kobe's. When I got into skateboarding, I like these particular brands. I followed this skateboarder's like signature shoe, and that kind of carried over. I still do that. I have a pair of Kamikaze 2s. I'm a big Vans guy. I keep some limited edition stuff in my closet just in case,
Yeah.
Got a nice pair of boots.
Like
shout out Allen.
I still got my 2 pairs of Nano 5s, the old American flag ones.
Oh yeah.
Have not been worn.
I got a pair of Kobe's in my closet. Those are.
Yeah. You got, come on.
I got the Grinch ones.
You're not getting rid of those.
Yeah.
So I guess
I will never understand why you purchase something and never wear it.
I wear them.
Get that.
I wear all of my shoes.
Collectors.
I know, but
do that.
So Sean, are your American flag ones a collector's?
I mean, I guess I was not gonna wear them because when I first got them, like, ooh, I'll bring these out for.
They were too loud
No,
for
well,
you.
no, they were cool. Like I was like, I'll bring these out for the 4th of July, right? And then I
Okay.
didn't. And then okay, well next year. And then I didn't again. And now it's kind of like, well, I've gone this long.
So
Inertia is a
Why
real
not
thing.
Yeah.
see how long I can keep them in the box in pristine condition? And then maybe one day I don't know, I get like Rich Froning to sign them or something. And they
Yeah,
can-
that'd be cool.
Oh, that would be cool. Okay. I can get behind that.
Okay, so that's why. But Reebok's got some cool stuff. You heard Tal talking about it going on at Wodapalooza, so be sure to check out their stuff. And again, you can come to our happy hour if you're going to be in town. Going to be a lot of fun. 6 to 9 p.m. Reebok swag up for grabs there. But the reason we are going to be there is because there's a big competition coming up, and that's Wodapalooza,
Oh yeah.
which is sort of, I feel like Wodapalooza is like the alpha and the omega. It is the end of the off season / beginning of the regular season, even
Oh,
though it's
yeah.
not part of the regular season. But this
Yeah.
was always like, okay, once Wodapalooza hits, now we are into the quote unquote game season.
for sure.
Mhm.
And you know, everybody, the proverbial bear comes out of the cave or rises
Mhm.
from his winter slumber to catch some sunshine in Miami and you know, work out some of the hibernation state to see what kind of fitness they've built in the to open up the season. And I think in years past there was maybe a heavier emphasis on how the performance sets people up because we didn't have stuff like Rogue or
Mhm.
Dubai was still a fledgling event, and there just didn't seem to be as much year-round
Yeah.
kind of coverage in the off season as there is now. But I still think that like we get a really good sneak peek in a short, condensed competition format, particularly with some of the divisions on the men's side. All right, how's everyone looking? Or is this going to stoke the fires of what we want, during the game season?
Well, I remember the first year, I can't remember the exact year, but I distinctly remember you when we worked at CrossFit making the case for why you should go to that event to scout it out, because it was a good place to sort of figure out who's going to be on the radar. And
2017.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I've got a few questions here. Got a couple buy or sells that we're going to do 5. And we'll start with this one. Buy or sell, Pat Vellner is going to win Wodapalooza. Buy or sell, Pat Vellner wins Wodapalooza. He's won what, 3 times, 4 times? 3 times, I think.
He has won 3 times.
Always has done well there. He's never finished lower than 3rd as an individual at Wodapalooza.
You said all the workouts are released, right?
Like I think so. I don't know if they're going to fit much more in. I've seen on Wodapalooza's Instagram, I've seen 5 tests.
Yeah. Okay.
If they put more, great, but it kind of defeats I guess the intent maybe. But it
you want to buy or sell that?
I'll buy it.
You're going to buy.
I'm going to buy.
Okay. Pat Vellner's going to win. Lauren's smiling because I know what she's going to say. So I'll let Lauren go next, and then I'll weigh in. I'll see who.
Well, Tommy, guess what? With only 5 events, Mr. Consistency Brent Fikowski is going to beat Pat Vellner. So I am going to sell that one.
And full disclosure, you're selling this because you got a little intel.
I am bandwagging off of an expert that we had on Death By.
What was that expert's name?
She is Canadian, and she happens to be the coach of the current fittest man in the world.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, did she have
Carolyn Lambre?
Did she have some intel as to?
She just made a really good case for Fikowski, and as she was saying it, it just became better and better in my mind. And secondary, the fans want it. I mean, Pat Vellner's great and all, but
it would be neat
how
to see
cool
Brent out
would
there.
it be to see Brent on top of the
I think it'd be
podium?
great. I think Brent will be up there on the podium too. But I look at what's been announced: cortadito, parallel bar dips, hang power cleans.
I don't have to say it like that, do I?
I mean, kind of shoulder to overhead and bar muscle ups. I mean, that is a
Cortadito? Is that good?
Yeah, it's not bad. Hey, you put the little days on it.
All right.
Yeah, you go for it. Hey, that's
Yeah.
all.
Go for it.
That workout has Pat Vellner written all over it.
Mhm.
I
Okay,
mean,
what other ones?
let's see. Maybe El Circo.
El Circo,
Yeah. Maybe some rope climbs, some toes to bar,
Toes
some
to bar?
handstand walk.
Did I get that right?
Yeah. and a little mixed grip kettlebell lunge. I mean, a lot of gymnastics, a lot of grip, some
Yeah.
handstand walking. I think we might see Brent and Pat push they'll probably be pushing each other on those. And then, oh wait, we have this little intervals aggressive workout that has some gymnastics, some wall balls, some box jump overs. Wait, wasn't there an intervals workout at the games?
Mhm.
Who won that?
I believe that was.
Ah, that's funny.
Funny.
No, so okay, now we get brought back down to earth when we figure out what is going to be the end result on the heavy lift and anything that's on Bayside. That may ultimately dictate the finishing order there, but I think there are 3 really good tests for Pat.
Yeah, I'm buying this one too. I think this is the year of Vellner.
Mr. 305, baby.
I'm in on him.
Not
I'm
really.
in. I'm going all in on Pat Vellner. I think he's going to win.
When
I
you
he's
think
started off.
Miami, you think
But what
a
about
Canadian
the water?
ginger.
Doesn't matter. He was good enough last year to get through it, and yeah, I think he'll be fine. I think to Tommy's point, there's enough home run potential in there for him to make up for any sort of subpar finish in any other event.
That's fine. I'll live on my island alone with.
I think it's a great
Brent
island to
Witkowski.
be on. I almost joined you there, but I just realized if I go against what I think what's going to happen this season, I don't want to do that. Like I got to be true to what I think, and I think it'll be a good year for Pat Vellner. I really do. Okay, next
After
one.
Wodapalooza.
Yes. Oh well. Even even if he finishes second, still a great year.
Correct.
Okay. Next, buy or sell. Danny Spiegel finishes on the podium. Lauren.
I'm gonna sell this.
Ooh.
I just don't know. I just don't know where she is compared to the other athletes that are going to be there right now. The last time we saw her was when she just missed qualifying for the CrossFit Games at semifinals. I know she's been traveling and doing a lot of like other things outside of CrossFit. So I don't have enough intel of currently where she is against the rest of the field to buy this one. So I'm going to sell it.
Well, she one thing I will add, she was at Rogue. She did kind of have a seesaw weekend.
Yeah, but did I black out that day? I don't know.
You
were somewhat busy.
To be fair, you were a little occupied. You may have even interviewed her, which I know you did.
I 100% did like 3 times.
Yeah, because she went in 4 consecutive events. She went 3rd, 20th, 1st, 2nd, and to start the weekend she had an 18th. So a little bit back and forth, but she beat some impressive women in the field. And podium, I'm going to say she finishes just off the podium.
Okay.
I'm going to sell this.
That would go with her history because this will be her 5th individual appearance. The 4th time she's competed. She withdrew in 2020, but 5th twice, 2nd last year. That was her best finish. So she is hovering around there. I don't think the women's field is as deep as it has been in the past. I think she's got a really good shot, so I'm going to buy this.
Oh, okay.
I'll be on the island. I think Danny Spiegel is going to finish on the podium. She always tends to have some of her best performances of the season in Miami for whatever reason. So I'm gonna go ahead and buy that. So we're split on that one.
I think 4th is where I think she nets out.
Yeah, and I think that given what she's done in the past is
sure.
Yeah. Okay, so this one's a little more involved. We're gonna move over to the men's team competition. There's 4 heavy hitters who are all on separate teams. So who's gonna have the higher finish here? In the men's elite team competition, Pat Vellner with, I think it's Tres Leches. Great name. Roman Krennikov on his team, Justin Medeiros, or Ricky Garrard.
You thought you nailed the pronunciation there.
I didn't, and I know that, and I apologize.
Do you know why they call it that, Sean?
It's 3 types of milk, right?
Yes. Yeah. Evaporated, condensed, and whole.
See, I'm there.
So say that question again. We're gonna.
So who's gonna finish higher in the men's elite team competition? These 4 men, they're all great individual competitors, but they are all on separate teams.
Do you have the athletes that they're with pulled up in front of you?
I'm efforting
I
that
do
right now.
but
Okay.
just name them first.
Okay.
Let's see. We got. I don't have my team list in alphabetical
I have it
order.
in front of
Okay,
me.
go for it. I'll defer to you.
Who are the athletes?
So
Yeah.
let's start with Pat Vellner on Tres Leches.
Yeah, there we go. I just wanted to hear you say it one more time. That's Pat Vellner, Travis Mayer, and BKG.
It's a good name for those three.
Who's yep, it is.
three different shades of pale right
Yeah,
there.
hell yeah.
I mean, Mayer's probably the
Dark,
tannest one
yeah.
there, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a SPF 100 right there.
What's
What's the next one?
Roman Krennikov.
So that's Team Pixel with Saxon Panchik and Jorge Fernandez. Or George.
Justin Medeiros.
Justin Medeiros is on Team Go
Yeah.
with Willie George and Jay Crouch.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It is.
And then finally Ricky Garrard.
That is Team
This
Tier.
is another good one.
Dallin Pepper,
And
Jason Hopper, and Ricky Garrard.
I'm picking the milk team.
The milk team. You're going
I'm
Tres
bringing my
Leches?
cookies, and I want the milk.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay, then. You dip into something of that. Woo.
Welcome to
Okay, then.
TEF After
Keep
Dark.
luring away from Tres Leches.
Oh my god!
You just got to preview
Just going to swirl that cookie around in there a little bit. Just see what happens.
Milk is Oreo's favorite cookie.
Okay.
Damn. I don't know how to take that, but that is a preview of Happy Hour tomorrow.
I guess, man.
Honestly,
Well, for me, it's between them and the Garrard team.
I agree. Yeah.
Although that Medeiros team is pretty sneaky, man. That's a sneaky squad.
Ooh, sneaky.
I want to know what kind of. I'm really curious what kind of shape Willie is in
Mm-hmm.
and how his training has been. That's tough.
All right. I'll make this interesting. I'm going to go with Ricky's team. I like that dynamic. I think
break the tie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might go
Hopper
Team
and
Tier
who
too.
else is on that team?
And Dallin.
Dallin Pepper.
Oh yeah, that is a good team.
Yeah, I might take that one too.
Okay.
That's
team
tough.
Tier. I think it's likely that the podium is made up of 3 of these 4 teams.
I think Team Tier's drawback is you have to stop Dallin and Jason from goofing around with each other the entire
agree,
time.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. There might be a focus issue there, but there's certainly no fitness issue. Okay, next one, we're gonna go over the women's side. Higher finish in the women's elite team competition: the Scandinavian team, the Peak 360 team, or the Ice Barrel team that has Bailey Rail, Brooke Wells, and Paige Powers. Scandinavian is Matilda Garns, Lena Richter, and Annika Greer.
And I believe, let's see, Scandinavian. That's a great
Scandinavian.
name. Yeah. Let's see. Hold on.
I'm
Did
gonna
I
say
spell that wrong?
So Lena Richter has been swapped out.
It's Scandinavian.
Yeah, Scandinavian.
All right, I thought Scandinavian.
And Rebecca
that makes more sense.
Rebecca Vidison is now filling in for Lena Richter.
Oh, Rebecca Vidison is.
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh.
I want to. Originally, I would have said their team because I know that Annika has been training at some point with Lena, and that makes me feel like they've probably done a decent amount of team like fitnessing together.
Team fitness.
So they might, team fitnessing.
Yeah.
So they might already have some of that chemistry down, but adding Vidison to the mix, I don't
Vidison
know. It's 50-50 for me.
Vidison is qualified for the games on a team, as has Matilda Garns.
Yeah, and they're both. I think Vidis is competing as an individual too. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, she is.
Paige is the only one for the other team. That's an interesting dynamic. This one's close,
Right?
Yeah.
Oof.
I might just have to go home. Well,
I'm going to say Scandinavian because their team name is cool.
okay. There's nothing wrong with that logic either.
That's
That
my
might be-
reasoning.
I'm like, I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the Ice Barrel team.
I was leaning Scandinavian. That's such a, where else would you have that sentence?
Right, exactly.
Hmm.
By the way, while you're thinking, I feel like naming your Wodapalooza team is kind of like naming your fantasy football team. There's a lot of strong names in here.
There's sweet, sticky, thick, and pretty.
Yeah, yep. Brazilian
What?
wax down under.
Oh my god.
Dixieland
The
Delight.
Uh-huh.
Stronger than a 90s trend. Those are on the
Ooh,
women's side.
that's a great
The men's
one.
have some good ones too. The Fox Ferret Manatee Men. The trio of Nate Ackerman, Daniel Cooch, and Joey Dennison.
Yeah, a couple of teenage athletes.
Yep. You got Canadians from the East, Midwest Cowboys. The Strapping Young Lads. James Sprague, Jack Farlow, and Benoit Boulanger. Tres Leches, of course.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to lean on Team Ice Barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think even in this like short term, I think having a couple of athletes that can lead from the front, if anything, if like when crap hits the fan.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. It's gonna be close. It'll be a fun battle to watch between those two. Is there a team that I should be including in there that I'm not?
I think the Plus Ultra team is sneaky good.
Okay.
Kyra, Jesse Smith, and Devin Kim.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, that is a good team.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I think they could sneak in there.
Okay.
At some of these other ones too.
All right.
Stronger than a 90s trend.
Final one. Who can pull a Paige Powers in 2024? Go back to 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Paige Powers was certainly an athlete people knew about. But if I remember correctly, going into Wodapalooza that year, excuse me, not many people were, I don't know anybody who was picking her to win the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she did and looked really good doing it. And then that propelled her to, I think, her best career year as an individual with the top 10 finish at the games as well. Who could be a candidate, man or woman?
Do they have to be a qualifier? Okay, previous games qualifier.
No, I just think it's someone who can use this, can have a surprise result, and then use that to carry momentum throughout the season.
I think Alexander Caron is
okay.
One. He just injury has had some up and down years. When he's on, he can compete with some of the best.
Okay.
I'm going down the list.
Yep. I got one name in mind on the women's side, maybe.
Who?
I think in general, I think there is a Oceania contingent of women that I think can surprise some people.
Okay. I don't know why she jumps out at me, but Freya Moosbrugger.
Oh.
I was looking at her name too, Sean.
Third individual appearance at Wodapalooza. She was 15th last year, 10th in 2022. So she's been good.
Yeah.
Been to the games.
Had a down year.
Yeah.
Yep. She competed at Dubai, not this year, but the year before. She changed coaches, changed training camps. Like, I feel like she's finally in a consistent rhythm that I think this will be a good weekend for her. Somebody else. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm curious to hear who you're going to say, because one just popped into my head.
Somebody else that I'm also looking at is Gracie Walton from Australia.
She's part of the Australia contingent that I was going to say. Grace Walton, Bryony Chalice, Emily DeRoy.
There's a lot of Oceania athletes in Wodapalooza this year.
But
who you got?
Carolyn Stanley.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Young athlete, made the games last year. She's still one of those athletes I feel like most people are like, did you make the games? Did you not? Like what? And I think there's a potential for a year 2 jump, and it's always hard to gauge unless you spend a lot of time with them or, seeing their training directly, whether or not that first games experience and kind of, maybe getting pushed around a little bit is going to elevate you or hurt you in the long run. But yeah, she had a couple good finishes. She finished 27th. She was only 23 last year. Yeah, I think there's a potential decent jump for year number 2.
Let me just throw you a name that I think you should keep it. I'm very interested to keep an eye on this young woman. Out of CrossFit Reykjavik, Bergros Bjorn's daughter. She's 16 years old. She's been to the games as a teen the last 2 years. She was 3rd in 2023 in the 16 to 17-year-old division, 8th in the 14 to 15-year-old division.
Yeah.
And finished 3rd at the games last year, despite having to be carried off the field after the first test due to heat stroke.
That's a good fun fact.
CrossFit Reykjavik, problems with
Not
the heat.
good, but-
Who else do we know that maybe had problems with the heat one point in her career at the CrossFit Games?
I don't know. Maybe rhymes with Schmanny
Schmanny Morris daughter.
Moore's daughter.
I'm just, look, same gym.
Yeah.
Trains with Annie. Clearly very talented. 16 years old.
Yeah.
Just keep
I
an
like
eye on
that.
that one.
That's a good one.
Keep an eye on that one.
It's a good one.
That is good.
Okay. Well, action gets going on Thursday. Lauren, Tommy, and I, along with our good friend, official friend of the show, Brian Friend, will be part of the broadcast team, bringing you all the action starting on Thursday. There's also the LATAM Cup. Lauren's all over that.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be fun.
Tommy, I'm going to have you listen to me do the pronunciations later. I was on the phone with my friend who also speaks Spanish.
Good.
And he gave me some phonetics that I could put in, but I'm curious when I say it out loud how it sounds. So.
Well, the interesting part is you're getting the LATAM Cup, so you're getting multiple dialects.
And,
And,
so good luck with that.
And some of, I mean,
Thanks,
Yeah,
Sean.
right.
I appreciate the
So
support.
when I used to go to Europe to do the Europe region with Mads Jacobson, who just like made these names sound like poetry, and here I am, and I'm like, dude, it doesn't sound like that when I say it. He goes, it's okay. People like it when you say it because it's like when you hear someone with an accent say your name, they think it's cool. I go,
no,
you are
it's not the
patronizing me, and I
same.
do not appreciate
you know, in
it.
Billy Madison, when Billy Madison, when he's like, they're doing the competition
Yeah.
at the end, and what's his bucket? Eric can like play the violin like beautifully, and that's Mad saying all those names,
And then
Sean with the recorder.
Lucas Högberg. And I'm like, you mean Lucas Högberg? Yeah, him too.
Yeah,
That's so cute the way you say it, though.
Sean trying to play hot cross buns on the
It's just-
recorder.
That was always a nightmare.
But yeah, that's funny. But yeah, and remember, some of it's Brazilian Portuguese too.
There you
So
go.
some of it's not even Spanish.
You're gonna crush it. It's gonna be great.
Thanks.
Oh man. But it'll be good. It's gonna be a fun competition. Thursday, Friday, individuals, Saturday, Sunday, the teams get going. We'll be on site. If you see us, please come say hi. We always like talking to you guys. Again, we got the happy hour. That is Wednesday night. So tomorrow night, the 10th, January 10th, 6 to 9 p.m. Tipsy Flamingo in Miami. Going to be a lot of fun. Let's close out with PRs and no reps. Tommy, you said you want to start with no reps. I guess we always start negative.
Ooh.
And with the positive.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't think I really haven't thought about this, so I don't know if I have any.
I'm gonna no rep week 18 injuries in football just because, like, it was. Oh, I guess I was gonna maybe mention the national championship that happened yesterday.
I watched a little bit of that.
I kind of no rep the NCAA.
Yeah,
Let's hear it.
Well,
make a 12-team playoff.
Yeah,
give the first 4 teams a bye. Let's just do that. That's
Also-
the way it needs to be.
Also, the minute they suspended Harbaugh, you like signed, sealed, and delivered a
You
national
knew that was
championship
gonna
to
happen.
Michigan because that fired that team up, and they were going to play like a team possessed the rest of the way. So I can no rep that. I was also no rep week 18 injuries because you hate to see it in that last week when you're just getting ready for the playoffs. Detroit has to deal with Sam Laporta. TJ Watt went out for the Steelers, but and you just hope everyone can get through. Cowboys. My Dallas Cowboys, Stephon Gilmore subluxed his shoulder. He's going to play, but it'll be tough.
It's got to be championship game or bust for them, right? Probably
It is.
Like if they don't, do you think if they don't make the Super Bowl, McCarthy's around again?
I think if they make the championship game,
They'll keep him.
they'll keep him.
Okay.
I think it's championship game, win 2 playoff games, or he's gone.
Okay. Lauren, no rep. You got one?
Honestly, I'm gonna no rep myself.
Oh no, a
Ooh.
self-imposed no rep.
You know, I knew that Wodapalooza was coming this week. I knew it for a long time.
I know where you're
and
going.
We had so much time to get organized and do laundry and pack because the holidays, and there was absolutely a Saturday and Sunday within the last 3 weeks that I sat on my couch and did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, you
And
need those
right
days.
now it's 4:30 p.m. and I still have to do laundry. I still have to pack. I still have to get
Yeah.
organized. And I'm no repping myself for that.
I think you'll be okay.
I actually think I do
It's
better
fine.
under the gun that way. If I'm like
Do
casually
you live like
packing-
this all the time?
No, I have to. Yeah, I'll plan it. I'll usually make like a list and do it, but I don't. I pack
Me
the night
too.
before. I pack the night before.
if I'll do the night before and I'll do a little bit the morning of, just because for the
Wait, Tommy, are you
tie the
packed
loose
right
ends.
now?
I am.
Hey,
Okay.
I am,
Good job.
because I'm going from
I'm
where
gonna
we are
PR
at.
you.
yeah,
to-
PR to Tommy.
I'm gonna go work out and then I'm gonna go to the airport.
Do the fitness.
Which, did you have no rep?
I don't think I do.
Which will lead me to my PR.
right,
My
hit it.
PR. I am PR.
Yeah, go for it.
United Airlines.
Ooh,
Oh,
Because,
good. That's what I'm flying tomorrow.
Yes, because I, obviously it was well documented last year. My
Oh, I
hullabaloo
forgot.
with trying to get to Wodapalooza and getting stuck in Houston Airport, or basically flying through Texas. I got a notification last night that I had been upgraded already for my flight. So
Dang.
I'll be hanging with the bourgeoisie up in first class for this flight. So which would be nice.
I'm flying.
Is this your first time flying
Southwest,
first class?
so- No, he flies Southwest. He flies first class all the time.
For really?
Yeah, I was with him when both you and who was it? Jay Ver? No, it was McCoy, right?
McCoy got
These two guys in front of me, McCoy and Tommy, we're all going like, ding, oh, you've been upgraded. Like McCoy's going to first class. Tommy, ding, you've been upgraded. Tommy's going to first class. I'm like, all right, here we go. Third time's a charge. Ding.
Sean's
See you
been
back on
downgraded.
32B, sir. I was like, oh, okay, well,
Next to the toilet.
Yeah,
McCoy
exactly.
high-fiving down
In the back.
yeah,
down the jetway. We got one back, boys. We got one back.
yeah, that's right.
No, but this is the benefit of primarily flying with one airline. Built up status, you get an occasional hookup like this.
Yeah, I'm doing
So,
Southwest. So
Truthfully, Tommy, when I saw I forget what they call it, the plug door on Alaskan Airlines, all
that
I could
flew
think
out,
of is this is something that would happen to
Yeah,
Tommy Marquez.
that's next. Make sure you have that seatbelt securely
Don't
fastened.
you put that evil on me,
Yeah.
Ricky
Yeah.
Bobby. Don't you do that.
Jeez, that would be, man, I would have been freaking out if that happened. Okay, Lauren, you got a PR?
Let's PR that we all get to work on the broadcast together.
That's right. I
Yeah.
like that. And we get, you know what? I'm going to PR the community because it's always, and I say this every
Yeah.
time I go to an event, it's always fun to be in an event in person because there's a big difference between this community, I think, online than actually interacting face to face. And when you interact with people
Fact.
face to face, it's an absolute blast.
Yeah.
So I've never had a bad time going live to an event. So I will
Mhm.
going to pre-PR the community for having a great time at Wodapalooza. And Wodapalooza is a fantastic event. So if
Ooh.
you've never been, go.
Lauren, we're going to get you a tattoo at Uno Mas Ropa.
Excuse me, what?
Oh yeah, sure. Oh my gosh, the three of us should get matching tattoos.
Nope.
How funny would that be for Sean?
If I came home with another,
My brother has that covered for the whole family.
if I came home with another tattoo without talking to my wife, I would be dead.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd be dead.
What if
though.
it's just like a little
Nope.
smiley face on your
I don't want a
finger?
smiley face on my
Ooh, I
finger.
could do
No,
that.
thank you.
I could do that.
Yeah, because eventually the ones on your hands go away anyways.
Nah.
So I hear.
No, thank you. I'll be more emotional support for that.
Generally, my wife is pretty supportive of it. As long as I don't get like vatos locos across my throat, she'll be like,
listen,
okay.
man, I went to the Rams Cowboys playoff game in what was the year that was that 2019. Dallas Cowboy fans lead the league in neck tattoos, and it is not even close.
Really?
It's not even close.
Oh, that sounds.
I would
painful.
have thought the Raiders would be up
I
there.
think that might be a close second, but man, because there are a lot of
It's-
Cowboy fans in that game.
Oh, for sure.
All of them. Neck
The
tattoos.
Cowboys are going to lose on Sunday.
No, it's-
Oh,
not gonna
you
happen.
watch yourself. You watch yourself. That's. I didn't want to mention the NFL playoffs because we have a gauntlet coming up on Sunday
Mhm.
with all of our teams playing that day. So
I'm glad. Like I I kind of went into Sunday nonchalantly, like, oh, whatever, Rams are in. And then I figured out if they lose to San Francisco, they're going to have to play Dallas. It's like, no, you guys got to win this game. Like, I don't want to play Dallas round one.
I think
Plus, because it's
we had subsequent texts.
you were rooming together. Like,
Yeah.
that would have been not good.
We had
that would be
subsequent
terrible.
texts where you were like, Puka Nakua got the record.
Yep.
You're like, all right, I don't care
Not
about this game.
interested.
Get him out. And you're like, oh wait, we might play Dallas if we lose.
Get him back in.
Get him back in there. Yeah, it was great.
Got to win this one. All right. That's going to do it for today. Thanks again to our sponsor, Thirdsy. Again, you can scan the QR code on the screen. You can use the link that's in the description of this episode if you're listening to it, or thirdsy.com. Use the code TEF. That saves you 20%. It's an absolute game changer. Their stuff is fantastic. You will definitely thank us if you get on board the Thirdsy train. We will see everybody in Miami if you're going to be there. Looking forward to another year at Wodapalooza. Just a fantastic event, and it's always a great time to be there in Southern Florida in the winter. Sometimes it's better than the summer anywhere else.
Yeah. Just in case if you're going, always just
Bring a little rain gear.
pack a little rain shell because you
Little
never
something.
know.
A little something,
Just a
something.
little something.
So, yeah, get you out of the elements. For Tommy Marquez and Lauren Khalil, I'm Sean Woodland. Take care of each other. Be better, and we will see you guys in Miami.